How many?
I think that was 5.
So this is a big day, I think, for Dads with Ammo.
This is a big day.
Yeah.
This is a day I've been looking forward to basically since we started.
Yeah, we've been talking about it since episode 1.
Yep.
Right? And finally, here it is.
Boom.
And I'm really excited about it.
Well, I'm excited because we were able to take the next step in what we have been doing, right? So episode 4 was great. Episode 3 was great. Episode 2 was great. And here we are, 5.
And here we are. You know, so we got our special guest, our first special guest, Dave Roberg, with Straight Shot Firearms Training.
How you doing, guys?
Good, man. I'm really, really excited.
I am too.
Like we were just saying before you stepped up, we've been wanting to do this now for, many weeks, and here we are.
Should we go into logistics first? Because I got to tell you, this diesel torpedo is amazing.
Good. I'm glad.
What do you got?
I got that Gurkha Centurion. Great stick.
You're wrong about one thing. That thing, you went through that like crazy.
I thought it was going to smoke very slow. It smoked very fast.
It smoked very fast. Well, you're a fast smoker anyway, dude.
Hey, I get nervous when I smoke fast.
Oh, really? Is it nervousness?
No.
You could smoke 2 cigars to my 1.
Or he just got off work.
Or you just...
Could have been that.
Are you winding down? You winding down, bro?
So anyway, here we are. Here we are with David Roberg. Happens to be my stepdad. Proud to be able to sit here and say that. You're a big part of my life.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
glad that you are coming into our podcast life and being part of it. I'm glad you're our first guest.
Yeah.
I'm very honored to be your first guest.
We've been talking about getting you on for a while, man. So I appreciate you stepping up.
It means a lot. It means a really lot. So I really want to emphasize on the name of your business, Straight Shot Firearms Training. I want to emphasize on the training part, right?
Okay.
Because we talked before we started this that, you don't want people to think that you're any type of gun dealer.
I'm not a gun dealer. I teach firearm safety, situational awareness, and avoidance is more important than anything else.
Avoidance is big.
Everybody walks around with their big gun guys, and they want to look around for something to shoot. I teach more about avoiding situations and situational awareness.
That's so true because you get on like Facebook, because we're on the same. I don't know, Dave, if you're on the 2A deal, but Ross and I are on that 2A, and I can't tell you how many times or how many comments do we read. Somebody's just waiting for shit to hit the fan. You know what I mean? So they have an excuse to pull the trigger.
Right. I avoid that.
And it's crazy. It's not. That's not what gun owners should, should kind of go to.
People like that, we're not all gung-ho, shoot 'em up guys. We want to avoid situations, and we want to see situations arise before they happen, and then we want to de-escalate the situation and get out. If you get out of a situation, you won the fight.
Right.
Yes. You're exactly right. It's no different from any black belt that I've ever talked to in a organized self-defense class. Just because I'm a black belt doesn't mean I'm going to go around kicking people's heads in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even though you might have the ability to do so.
Are you going on record saying you're a black belt?
I'm not a black belt. I never achieved black belt status.
Okay. Well, you said I. Just want to make sure. But anyway, I want to touch on that later.
That was a brown belt.
Okay, good. Brown, that's good. So I want to ask you, how long you been doing this?
I've been teaching concealed carry classes.
You're such an asshole.
About 6 years now.
About 6 years?
Yeah.
And you feel like this is good for the community?
I feel it is very good for the community.
Why is that?
Because people have it's not only your duty, but it's your constitutional right to protect yourself and your family from evil.
I totally agree. Totally agree. Right. But I am curious. How did you get started?
I got started. I originally started taking NRA courses because in the community because I wanted to find out where the cheap ammunition. I wanted to get it so I get cheap ammunition.
Well, you're an NRA member, and you're part of the club, so they just throw everything on the down. Hey, go to Dave's, or go to.
No. I just started taking NRA courses. I always considered myself a good shot. You know, 'cause I've been shooting since I was been like 9, 10 years old on the farm in Illinois. But I just wanted to get in the shooting community to find out where the ammunition prices.
So 6 years ago, that was before the Trump days,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, it was in the Obama era. The ammunition
Oh, that's when
prices.
the big ammunition scare was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he tried to brand a green tip, or did he? Did he succeed in No, he didn't ban it.
No, nothing got banned.
Remember, it was a big scare though. Everybody was buying green
But
tip up like a
ammunition
month.
prices were through the roof, and then
22 was low, right?
Oh God, there was a 22 scare
Dude,
for a
It
long
was.
time.
Yeah, it was.
Mhm.
22s were
Rimfire.
Yep.
Yeah,
I know because I remember buying some on Backpage before that whole deal. Right, you would get on there, and there was guys that go into a Walmart situation, and just as soon as they would get one, they would be there at midnight, you know, or right when Walmart opened it, put it on the shelf,
Oh, yeah.
took it right off,
There was a line.
Yeah.
and then they resold it, and made money off the deal.
Yeah,
Right.
And I was one of the dumb assholes that paid for that.
I think we all were.
Yeah.
You know, I think we all did that.
I paid $140, I think, for a little bucket, which is like, that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
But at the time, you know, it's like it's 22.
Right. So, ammunition sales pushed you in the direction, right?
Kind of, and I just wanted to improve my shooting. I was always a good shot, but I always wanted to improve on my shooting. I didn't
Okay.
necessarily want to be a competition shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Did you use 22 or anything because of
I
the?
grew up with 22s, but later on I was more into rifles and long distance sniper stuff, and
Oh, really?
and then handgun stuff.
I could see where that would be a need though, because a lot of that stuff, a lot of that high long range ammunition and stuff is
I
really
like
really
long
hard.
range stuff.
Yeah,
Was-
it's really hard to come by,
but-
and it's also very expensive.
I was taking NRA courses, and they paired me up with this police officer. He's getting toward retirement age or whatever, and he was taking a basic NRA courses, and he approached me, and they paired me up with him, and he asked me if I ever wanted to be a concealed CCW instructor. And I informed him. I said, "Well, you know, I didn't know that I'm too old to join Metro, the police department." And
Sure.
he said, "No, I didn't know that they have a civilian side that teaches CCW classes."
So, not to interrupt you, but the NRA class is a safety class?
It was a firearms safety class, and you start off with basic pistol, and then you move your way up to a firearms safety class, and then I got. Then personal protection inside the home and personal protection outside the home.
Okay.
Range safety officer, chief range safety officer, this, that, and the other. And then you go
Wow.
into the instruction part. Well, I kept going. I don't know why I kept going, but I kept going. And then this guy, a police officer, asked me because I was a good shot and whatever. And he saw how I wasn't military. I wasn't military, and I wasn't a hoorah guy. He asked me if I wanted to teach concealed carry classes, and he got me a packet. He brought me a packet, and I started doing classes
And this was in Las Vegas.
in Las Vegas. Yep. And
So that kind of governs Henderson too, or
Clark County.
Clark County.
Nevada.
There you go.
And
Perfect.
I all I had to do was develop an 8-hour lesson plan, which I did. I took a lot of nights sitting down there,
Yeah.
and developed my own 8-hour lesson plan about firearm safety, recommended modes of carry, the laws, Nevada laws, different situations, and I did that, and I had to submit my 8-hour lesson plan to Metro, and they approved me.
That's
You have
awesome.
to take your plan,
Mhm.
what you write,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And then you have to give it to Metro.
I had to
and
submit
they
an
gotta
8-hour
say,
lesson plan.
they got to give you the check mark, huh?
Yep.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep.
So what do? They give you a number, or they give you a stamp, or I mean, because I know on CC classes
I'm on their the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department website, CCW instructors.
Okay,
I'm instructor. Last I checked was 163.
nice.
They changed.
Oh, you're numbered.
Yeah, I'm numbered, and
Oh, okay, cool.
the longer I'm there, the higher up some people drop out, and this, that, and the other.
Sure.
Last I checked, I'm like instructor number 163.
So is that something you have to renew every year, or?
I have to renew my business license every
Okay.
year. And I'm also qualified to do Utah concealed carry classes, which gets you more states, state CCWs. I have to go renew that every 3 years
In
Nice.
Utah.
in Utah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you have to go to different states.
Yep. So with my credentials, I can qualify people to where they're eligible for 36 states in the United States
Oh,
of
okay.
America. Now, our commander-in-chief is trying to push, which it should be, it's our Second Amendment right, that our CCW permits should be eligible, like our driver's license, in all 50 states.
Oh, one license takes you everywhere.
Yeah, just
Right?
like our
You can go
driver's
anywhere
license.
you want.
Yeah,
So CCW you can carry from state to state.
50
Right.
states.
And I wanted to point on that also because I think people don't understand that if you're driving over a border, you're leaving Nevada, and you're going into
point.
Utah,
Yep.
right? Well, Utah's probably a bad example, but let's say
Yeah, because
California.
Utah has reciprocity of Nevada.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously California is they're on an island
California
of
is
their own.
and behind. I always say I'm going behind enemy lines.
Yes, high five that,
I
bro.
love it. I love that.
It's true.
We hit that on I think almost every podcast so far.
Yeah, pretty
California.
much.
And here's
Pretty
my
much.
position on that. I get so mad because I feel like a criminal, and I've never been a criminal. But
Right.
I feel like I'm a criminal if I do defend myself or my family or people in my presence. Because and when these politicians, they can't even control their own citizens.
Hmm.
I mean, there's
Right.
people in California shitting in the streets,
Right, right.
and shooting up needles. They're drug
Mhm.
addicts. They want their next dollar for their drug habit, and I can't even protect myself because it's illegal to carry a firearm.
Right.
It's
With
my
our-
Second Amendment right.
Right, and
I
we
get
have our
so
kids walking
passionate,
down the
I'm
street.
mad.
So let's hear it.
I'm mad.
I'm with you. We have our kids walking down the street, watching what you just said happening on the side of the street, and we can't even protect ourselves.
Right.
I'm
It's like
mad.
they
I'm
protect
too old
them.
to fight.
More than we can protect ourselves, our own citizens.
In my 20s and my 30s, I'd go up there and I'd get in their face, I'd beat their ass. I
Mhm.
can't do that anymore. I'm in my 50s. Hey, I'm not the old spry guy I used to be. But
Right.
how dare you tell me I cannot protect myself
I
and
know.
my family
We're with
From
you
evil.
100%.
when you can't control your people?
That's right.
And evil pops up everywhere. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in, what side of town you're in, daytime, nighttime. Evil presents itself at any given time.
Right.
And you don't have time to react.
especially in the world today.
You just
When
have to,
when
you
people
just-
realize that, that's when they say, you know what,
you
maybe
just
I
have
should
to be
go and
ready
take
for
a
it.
class.
I do a lot of
Mhm.
classes with
Yeah.
people. I actually do a lot of classes with the people that I'm not gonna say women or whatever, but guys and women that have been raised in a privileged background,
Mhm.
and they don't realize there's evil in this country, in this town,
Sure.
anywhere.
Maybe they're
They always think it won't happen to me. I don't want to be mean to someone to tell them to back off. They're homeless. I want to feel sorry for them. And criminals prey on that. They
Yes.
prey on people, their vulnerability.
Yeah.
They prey on that.
a lot of people
And
have
I teach
sheltered,
that.
have grown up sheltered lives, kind of like that.
Sure.
Kind of in a controlled environment their entire life, and then all of a sudden they're shoved into reality. And what do? They get mugged.
And
somebody
Right.
steals their purse, you know?
Yeah.
Well, do you think with the media and smartphones and everything, and everybody has a phone, puts video up, do you think that they see it more now because they didn't see it before?
Well, they post it a lot more like they're victims. You know what I
Now.
mean? Yeah,
Mhm.
and as people like us would be like, yeah, well, if you had a gun, maybe you wouldn't have been a victim.
Right.
Maybe.
But
I
see, there's a difference between having a gun. See, I believe, here's what I teach, and here's what I believe. If I'm carrying my firearm, I'm that much more heightened in security. Just like if I'm with my grandkids or whatever. My heightened sense of security is a little bit
Sure.
more heightened because it's not just me. I got my grandkids with me. I'm looking around.
I could appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. I got my.
we're just high
Thank you.
fiving and
Yeah.
pounding it
Thank
out.
you for that.
You know what? I've got my head on a swivel, and I'm that much more heightened, because I got more precious cargo right here. I'm protecting.
Sure.
Truthful. I would be more than happy to drop my son off on an overnight little, hey, I want to hang with my friend if I knew that they were gun guys. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That's how it is.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I'm totally.
And vice versa.
I teach in my class more, and I teach. I'll teach you how to shoot and be proficient, and I'll get you started to where you can. I give you a good foundation of how you can learn how to shoot.
Mhm.
But the most important thing you can teach someone is situational awareness and pay attention. And
Yeah. No, that's
do you-
the big thing.
pay attention to your surroundings and look and see if something's going to happen.
So do you kind of preach the color conditions?
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you use 4 or do you use 5?
White, yellow,
Mhm.
red.
Red.
Yeah. White is where you're sleeping.
Yep.
You have no idea.
Well,
what's going on
you're
around
sheep.
you. Yep. You have no idea what's going on around you.
We are never sheep.
Never.
No. Well, when we're sleeping, we are.
Well, I guess you're right. You're right. I'll give you that. White.
Okay.
You're
Yellow.
sleeping.
Yellow is where you're.
Yellow's where we live, baby.
Yellow is where we live. We're driving. We pay attention to pedestrians and street lights and whatever. And then red.
Never put your back to the door. Right.
Yeah.
Every time we sit, my
It's-
kids are always like, "Daddy,
Conditional
your
awareness.
back's to the
dude.
door. I know you want to sit over
that's
here."
Very important.
Yes.
And
And a lot of people don't even know that,
and
do
red,
they? It hits all of a
Right.
sudden when you tell them.
red is where a threat's verified. When you or yellow actually, when you see someone looking at you or whatever, that's where you need to make a plan. Okay, you see these guys. Okay, am I going to duck in the store? Can I walk by them? Should I just walk across the street and avoid that situation?
Right. I saw that today. Ride my motorcycle. I don't know if I was going to work or somewhere else, but there was somebody in the middle of the street. He had a backpack. He had headphones in. But he had something in his hand, and all I was watching was his hand the whole time. I
Very
mean, he was in the
important.
middle of the street. I'm riding down that street, and I'm watching him.
And
Is
you're
he
out in
going
the
to jump
open.
at me?
Right.
Is he going to flash something at me?
Right.
What's going to happen? Right?
Well, maybe he was a victory guy. He just saw you on a Harley.
Probably jealous.
Probably
Probably
jealous. The victory guy was jealous.
Every
So then at that point, that would be a yellow, right? Not so much a red.
Think of a plan. Yep, you're
Mhm.
right.
Sure.
Yep. Think of a plan. Am I going to avoid him? Escape route?
Right.
Flight?
Or
Yes.
just run him over.
Yep. Or just run him over.
Just run him over.
Fight. That's fight.
That's the fight, right?
Fight or flight.
I'm kidding. I would never
But,
run anybody over on purpose.
There's 3 conditions.
No,
freeze, fight, or flight. You don't
You'd
want
end
to
up
freeze.
Freeze, fight, or flight.
You cannot
I like
freeze.
that.
You cannot sit there and leave yourself or your family in danger.
Right.
You've got to do something. You've got to be proactive in
Yes.
situations like that.
Yeah, take accountability. It's on you to make it.
You know what? It's your duty. It's
Yes.
your duty to protect yourself and your family, and you have to have that warrior mentality. You've got to be. You can't be submissive
So
because
let's
that's
talk
what
about
criminals
red.
look for.
Right. So let's talk about red. What puts you in a red
Okay,
situation?
scenario.
Mhm.
Guy comes up to me and puts a bite on me for $1. Hey man, you got $1?
So he's a couple feet away from you.
A couple feet away. I put my hands up and I get my stand.
You got family with her, or just you on the street?
Doesn't matter.
right?
Doesn't matter.
You're already
I
at
put my
awareness.
hands up and I say, "I'm sorry, I don't carry cash." one, you planted that seed. You don't have cash.
Who carries
So
cash anyway?
let's say we're sitting at a gas
I
station.
carry, don't matter.
Let's say we're sitting at a gas station. You're pumping your gas, right? And this guy's walking down
Yeah.
the street. He comes up to you at the pump, right? Perfect
Hey, man,
scenario.
back off.
Mhm.
I don't feel comfortable with you. Get away from me. Put your hand up. You built the wall.
Mhm.
You built the barrier. You tell him, back off. What do you want?
Right, because
Hey, man, you
you
got
have
a
no
dollar?
idea.
Hey, man, you got $1? I'm sorry, I don't carry cash. Tell him, I'm sorry, I don't carry cash. Don't say, F you, get a job,
Sure.
bum.
Right,
Because
right.
you're going to escalate the situation.
Escalate the situation.
And you don't want to do that. You want to
Mhm.
de-escalate. I'm sorry, I don't carry cash, man. Boom. Sympathetic. Okay, if I got to tell you twice, I'm not nice.
Right.
I'm not nice. I'm going to tell you, hey, man, I freaking told you.
I tried to de-escalate
Back
the
off.
situation, right? Tried to, and it didn't work. So now I have to get
and,
angry.
and there's another reason why
He's
you say
still
it.
pressing on.
And there's another reason why you say it loud. One, you want to let them know you're in charge, because you're not in charge of my life. I'm in charge. And two, you want witnesses.
Yes. Exactly right.
There's a guy over there going, man, dude, man, he told the guy 4 times to back off.
Yep.
Okay,
Same guy went up to somebody else
so
and he
they
saw
see
that.
what's going on.
Yep.
So, and then if you have to present your fist, your knife, your gun,
Right.
a chair, whatever.
So you're speaking of a situation that escalated to the point where the police showed up.
Well,
No.
if-
Because
if
now
I-
you have witnesses.
the police aren't going to show up for 20 minutes, 10 minutes.
Well, I'm saying you're having a witness that's saying, hey, he told him.
Right.
To
You're
stop 4
establishing
times.
The same guy just
First
went up
of
to the
all-
witness earlier.
First of all, you're taking command of the situation because you know what? You're not running the show. I'm
Right.
running the show.
Mhm.
What
Yep.
goes on around in my bubble?
Mhm.
You don't belong in my bubble. Get out of my bubble.
Mhm.
You don't belong in my space. Back off. I don't owe you $1.
That's right.
Sure.
And are you robbing me or whatever?
Yeah.
Right. Because how
it's up to
quickly,
you.
It's all about command.
It's all up
right,
to
and
you,
how
bro.
quickly could it turn
Where do you
into
want this
that?
to go?
And that stuff happens within 10 seconds.
Right.
Sure.
Quickly. Right.
And sometimes, and then there's other attackers that just pop out of nowhere. They're
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
planned. Yeah.
Or they jump up and take you by surprise.
They're
don't have-
watching
You don't
you.
have time to go through all that scenario.
This is somebody that's
And,
watching you,
that's
seeing
when you
your.
got to react. You got to react. You got
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, there's different kinds of. Every situation is different. If someone a surprise, they call it a surprise attack.
Mhm.
Someone pops up out of nowhere and attacks you out of nowhere. You got to have a plan.
And
That's where
Absolutely.
situational awareness. You get a shopping cart or a light pole. You can have a shopping cart as a barrier or a light pole. You can run around a light pole all day long or jump underneath the car. I'm too fat. I'm too big. Well, too fat. Unless
We
you
all
got a
have
big-
that.
Unless you got a big lifted truck, I can jump underneath the truck or whatever. But I'm
Right.
too big for that. But I can run around a light pole all day long,
That's right.
and
Right.
that's a barrier to where
So, moral of the story is try to put something in between you.
a barrier. Yep.
Yeah.
well, you
In
try to
between you and somebody
de-escalate the situation.
At first.
Yes.
At first. And
Yeah.
it-
There's a degree. I call them unlock codes, right? So you go into a situation. It's like, okay, do they have the ability, right, to cause threat, cause harm to me
Wash their
or my
hands.
family?
Wash
Right.
their hands.
If they don't have the ability, they're in a wheelchair. Hey, you want a buck? No, sorry, bro. Keep rolling. You know, roll on to the next guy. Go on to that. You know. Okay, so they're standing in. You know, they're average human being. It could be possible. They could threaten you.
And
They
you-
can go into a situation. But if you de-escalate it, you go in your car, jump in your car. You're done pumping
You
your
won the
gas.
fight. You
yeah,
won the fight.
and you're moving away. He's
You
still
won the
alive.
fight.
You're still alive. Everybody's still good. But if you have to unlock that area where you have to initiate threat or where you have to initiate basic lethal
Or non-lethal.
or non-lethal,
If you
right?
got pepper spray, boom,
Yeah.
blast them with pepper spray.
Sure.
But make that phone call.
Yep.
Make that phone call to the police and say, hey, listen, I'm a CCW guy. This guy came after me. I punched him in the face. I hit him with a chair. I stabbed him with a knife. I used my gun.
Right.
I used a taser. Make that phone call, because if you jump in your truck or car vehicle and leave, and they catch you at home, they're waiting for you at home.
Sure.
Yeah, he came after me. That's no self-defense.
Sure.
That's not self-defense.
So I think that's a
Cover
good
your
point.
butt. Cover your ass.
So what they say that a gun is the last line of defense.
It's a
right?
last resort.
So you
Tool
do
of last
everything you can to de-escalate the situation.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And if you
And
can't-
again, go through the unlock codes and see if they don't have the opportunity. They don't have a knife. They don't have. All they have is their fists. Right. Stand up to the threat. No big deal. There's no sense to issue lethal force if all they have is fists coming at
Tell
you.
you what, if
Very
someone comes, I don't know if they have a gun or a knife on them.
Mhm.
If I present my firearm, I'm not going to wait for them to present a firearm.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna present it, and if they run, let them go. You
Yep.
won the fight.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If they put their hands up, make them get on the ground. But sometimes they submit. Sometimes they're just crazy and they'll come after you. They can kill you with a club.
They can.
They can kill you with a.
It's what is
if you get
what is that? The 20-foot rule with a knife.
21 foot.
21 foot.
They call it a Tuller drill. Check it out.
yeah,
Look at it sometime.
I think there was a police officer or a state highway patrol. They came up with that.
Yeah.
I think you told me that.
Tuller. Yeah.
But I think that's a good point. And I lost my train of thought, but
It's opportunity to initiate a threat to your life. Okay, that's part of the unlock codes. You have to go through it, and sometimes you have time to evaluate. Sometimes you have to split-second decision.
I found my thought when you said that. If you present your firearm, even to somebody who just has fists or a club,
Doesn't matter.
at what point do you have to call 911 or the police of some sort and say, "Hey, I'm a
Anytime you have
CCW
to-
guy"?
Even anytime you have to pull your firearm, or even if you punch somebody, or if you hit them with a chair, if you stab them with a knife, or if you shoot them with pepper spray, make that phone call. Cover your
Make that
ass.
phone call. Cover your ass, right?
Because if you go home and you're like, yeah, well, this guy came after me, so I pepper sprayed him. You get charged with assault for pepper spray. Cover your ass. Yeah.
It's
Right.
sad,
Cover your ass.
dude.
If you
It's
throw your
so
milkshake
sad.
in his face, if you throw your drink in his face and you jump in your car and get away, you think you won the fight? No, make that phone call because you're a CCW guy,
Right.
and you want to cover your ass, and you don't want to get charged with assault,
Right.
and then you lose your gun rights.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of whiners out there. They hate gun people or whatever.
I think we might have to add just a third person to this because this is great. That's how great this is. I think.
Well, smoke's doing good. All right, so the thing is, before people take any CCW classes, your class, they're not aware that there are different conditions of awareness. Okay, and they're just out with their family. How many times you go out to dinner, you go to a sit-down restaurant, okay? And Ross, you hit it. You don't put your back to the door,
Right.
Man, I don't know. Let's say,
Why would anybody want their back to the door? Period.
People don't realize. People,
Right.
they don't think. They don't. It's not on them, but they don't think there's anything's going to happen to them. They're
No, because they're
comfortable in
focused on their
surroundings.
pasta. Right.
Here's what I tell people.
they're focused on what they want to eat.
Exactly.
They're in there. And
That they've been waiting
They
a
don't-
half hour to get a table. They don't care where it
They
is.
don't care about anything else.
But I tell you what, my kids know I am never going to sit with my back to the door.
Right. Mine as well.
when I walk into a restaurant, my wife goes, "Where do you want to sit?" And we don't make a big deal out of it. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll sit right here."
Mm-hmm.
And I'll sit with my back to where I can see the front door. But mainly, I like to see the whole room,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not a big deal. But mainly, I watch where the kitchen staff goes, because where the kitchen staff goes, into to the kitchen part,
Mhm.
every kitchen has a back door.
That's an interesting
Okay.
point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, another
It could
reason,
be a vulnerable.
well,
entrance.
And another thing, if the place caught on fire, or if crazy guy with a gun starts shooting up the place, everybody's going to run toward that front door.
Sure.
Right.
I'm going to grab my wife or my people, and I'm going to run through the kitchen, because every
Your-
kitchen has a back door. There's a lot of
grandkids.
concealment spots, and I can get out, and we're going to be safe, because I don't want to get trampled at the front door. Where
So-
everybody else-
I think that's a really good point because you take the threat out of it, right? Of somebody coming in with a gun.
you won the fight.
Yep.
But take
no
that whole part
opportunity,
out of it.
no ability. That's happening right there because that's where the cash register is. I'm skating right out the back with my kids, and while we're there, it goes right into my wife and kids know that I have a key word: landslide. When I say landslide, that means no drama, no question.
Follow me.
Stop what you're doing. Let's go. You follow me, right, Dave? That's what it is. When I say landslide,
great idea.
landslide now.
I
Right.
never thought
They
of that.
stop.
No,
Yeah,
that's-
they
that's a
stop what
great
they're
idea.
doing. They know it's serious. It's not. It's
Right.
not a joke.
Right.
You saw the threat. It was way over there. The kids, yeah, oblivious to everything. Wife, she's, should I get the avocado? No. Okay. Landslide. Let's go now.
And forget about your purse.
Yep.
We're running.
Right.
I don't care about your purse.
But going back to your point, if there's a fire, let's take the gunman out of it. Take the cash register out of it. If there's a fire at a certain point,
It's in the kitchen.
it could be in the kitchen, so you're running to the front door, right? Or there
Look
could
for
be a
exit
fire
signs,
somewhere
yeah.
else, right?
Yeah.
It's all.
You
so
go through your unlocks, bro.
Yep.
you go through your unlocks, so
Yep.
it could be
Correct.
anything.
Good point.
Mhm.
So you don't. You every situation is different, and you don't get tunnel vision. I call it on one set plan because every
Right.
situation is different.
Right, exactly. So
Which is
my
why
point
the color scale is so important.
Right.
Right.
So my point is, we're sitting here
Right.
talking about CCW and looking at this threat that's coming
You
in
know-
the door, but it could be a fire. It could be something else. That's my whole point.
Sure.
You know what I teach in my class? We're not cops, spies, or superheroes. If I see someone acting a fool, or in a bar, or a restaurant, or in public, or even at my own house, my uncle, crazy uncle, whatever, acting like a fool, I'm not going to go over there and get in his face, because that escalates the situations or whatever. And
Sure.
and I'm taking I'm taking the problem to him, so I'm the original aggressor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I hear my neighborhood, my neighbor's dog barking or whatever, and I'm gonna go over there, their loud music or whatever, and I'm gonna go over to my. If I go over and pound on my neighbor's door, boom, 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 and I'm sick of his loud music, and hey man, and push comes to shove, and he pulls out the baseball bat, I pull out my gun, boom, I took the problem to him. I'm the
Yes.
Right. I
original
was just going to
aggressor.
say that.
You cannot
Yep,
be
yep.
the original aggressor.
Right.
Situation
Exactly.
like that.
Right.
Let
Exactly.
the police handle it. I know they're busy. It takes 3 hours. They might not even show up
Well,
for a
and
loud music call.
you really have to think about that too,
You've got
because if you don't have control on alcohol or you don't control on your emotions, you sometimes you have to take that out, dude. If you're going to go to a Led Zeppelin concert, first of all, they got freaking metal detectors at the doors anyway.
Right.
Which is don't even get me started. You know what I mean? It's
Sure.
just bullshit. But again, concealment is concealment, right? If you can get it through,
metal detectors. I do.
they keep the threat out too. Not only to keep
You know
a
what else I
sheepdog.
like? You know what else I like? I go to the Aviators game, and I see the Metro officers on top of the roof with
Yes.
AR-15s. I like that.
Yeah, love that.
I love that.
Love that,
I feel
dude.
safe because I can't carry mine because I'm not a cop, spy, or superhero.
Yeah.
Right.
They're
Hey, so
protecting me.
listen, I want to pull it back a little bit. So you started with NRA classes, right? Because the ammo thing, you wanted to get in for that, but then it escalated, right? Because a friend of yours said, "Hey, why don't we talk about you getting into CCW classes, right?" So let's talk about how going into a class, an NRA class, how did you make your decision of
What?
you know
to,
what?
To
I'm
take
going to
it a
do
step
this
further.
because
This
yeah.
guy-
How do we take that step further?
He's a police officer here in town. He's a captain actually here in town. His name's Dave. He's a good friend of mine, and he saw how I talked and operated. And actually, he asked me because he knew I was a civilian. I wasn't military. I wasn't police guy and whatever.
Okay.
And he asked me if I wanted to teach concealed carry classes, and I said, "Well, you got to be a police
Was it a
officer."
thought in your mind at that point?
No, but it was like a light bulb in my head,
Yeah.
and he goes, I'll bring you in a packet. So he brought me in a packet the next day, and there was a punch list of things that I needed to do, and I fulfilled that, and I got approved through Metro.
So at that point, that's when you put your lessons plans in.
I did. I started working on my lesson plans, and
Was he a CCW instructor?
No.
He just thought, hey, it'd be perfect for you.
He saw potential.
He saw potential in me because I was a civilian. I talked normal. I wasn't a militant military guy.
Sure.
And he thought I'd be good with the public, with the general public. There's a difference between being a firearms instructor in the United States Marine Corps or the Metropolitan Police Department, because not everybody. Let's look at it this way: not everybody in a civilian CCW course are 18-year-old Marine recruits. These guys have bad hips, bad eyes. I'm dealing with all shapes, sizes of walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
Women, younger people, older people.
I took my CCW class. Again, I had mine on base here at Nellis, and I took my father-in-law. Right? He's 73, and he showed up. He's got a 357 38 wheel gun.
Uh-huh.
Right?
The old timers do that, yeah.
Yeah, and he had an old 9mm. It was some kind of make. Oh God, I don't even know what it was, but
or something.
Exactly. And it was even the instructor didn't even know how to break it down and field strip it. You need some kind of freaking degree just to get that thing apart. But anyway, so I told him, I was like, nah, dude, you got to use that wheel gun. So we are 3 yards, and he's got great groups, just with this. And, he can't see a damn thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got glasses, both, near and far. Well, he just switches them out.
Right.
But that's the important thing, protect yourself.
Yep.
Protect yourself.
I like I said, I get all walks of life, young people, old people, whatever, different countries, Asians, Filipinos.
So I wanted to touch on the military part. So we have friends that have been in the military, Army, Navy, and they specialize, if you will, in rifles.
Yes.
So I just assumed that they knew everything about handguns, right? Because
I got a friend of
gun's
mine.
a gun.
I got a friend of mine. His name is Francisco, and he was in the Army. Didn't have a clue how to shoot a handgun. They didn't cover any of that stuff.
Only officers get to do.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing. He
took my
goes
class.
through. Yeah, I know. I pushed him your way, dude.
He took my class. Yeah.
And the feedback that he gave me was like, oh yeah, he's very thorough. He's right to the point. He gave me scenario after scenario, kind of opened my eyes.
And I
Dave
give him a lesson.
Dave was right to the point.
Yeah.
Right.
I give him a lesson on the range, and we went to the range and had a good time. And within about 50 rounds of ammo, he was hitting bullseyes. He was so excited.
Yeah, smile on his face the whole time.
It's so funny. when we're walking out, I go, well, and I hand him his target. And I said, "Here, put that on your front door." He's like, "Well," and he was like speechless. He's
a pretty humble guy.
Yeah.
And he goes, I said, well, I bet you didn't think this morning that when you woke up that you'd be a better shot than you were when you woke up this morning.
Right.
And
that's
he
my
was
point.
excited.
This guy went through the Army. Went through what was he?
No,
He was Army.
Army. So he went through the Army, knowing everything about guns.
That's what. My style of teaching is I don't get. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
My style of teaching is I'm not a oorah. Oh, you got to do this, yell at you or whatever.
Just pound it in people's heads, right?
No. I'll teach you, and then you know what? I'm your friend, and we're gonna learn. And when you look up, it's like, wow, I'm hitting bullseyes.
Well, plus you're throwing everyday scenarios at people,
and,
real life people that go through life, just
but
not aware. Now all of a sudden they are aware.
On the range part, it's like, okay, here's what you got to do. Let's not break away from the scenario. Your grip and all that kind of stuff. And I'll get you hitting bullseyes, and we're gonna stick to it. And
I think that's a good point. So you take this guy, a friend of ours, right? That has he knows everything about rifles, right? He could hit a bullseye from a mile away. but you put a handgun in his hand and he knows nothing. You can't conceal a rifle, right?
Nope.
Very easily. I guess if
Right.
you're wearing a trench coat in the middle of winter in New York, you can do your thing. But you take this guy that knows everything about rifles, you bring him to Dave, right? He takes his CCW class and he actually learns, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, I just assumed anybody in the
No.
Army, they knew. They just know.
I
A
used
gun's
to
a gun.
too. I used to too. When someone's like, "Oh, I was in the military a long time," if they're honest, they'll tell you, "Yeah, I'm in the military, but I've shot rifles and I'm not really familiar with handguns, to be honest." I like that, but I could tell from the second they pick up a gun if they're experienced with a handgun or not.
Yeah, yeah,
can
And,
see
yeah.
and you
Sure.
know what? And they shouldn't be ashamed of it, and that's what I'm there for.
Just a willingness to learn,
let's,
for
let's-
sure.
Let's do this. You know?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's something learning from a friend of yours. You know what I mean? It's not trained.
Right.
It's another thing. I would be more than happy to pay the money to learn from a professional that has gone through the ranks and to say, look, this scenarios, not so much. That may not work. That may not hit home with this person. But I could switch that up, and I could say, all right, think about this everyday life.
But
Yeah, sure.
on the civilian side, it's all in your tone of voice because we're not structured military, whatever, and people learn at different paces.
Sure.
There's people that learn quicker, on anything.
Yeah.
But that's where you have to take the time and take their weaknesses and
Well, let's take women for that.
women
For
are
that
the
matter.
easiest.
Right? So let's take women for that. They don't know.
You know what? In my experience, I think that people that have never picked up a firearm are easier to teach than people that are experienced because they haven't developed any bad habits.
Yep. That's a good point. It's a very good point. And women, for that matter, if they're in a
Women.
situation,
Yep. Women are
they're
easy.
They're more susceptible to situations like
And
that
also-
exactly what I was going
than,
to say.
than they are with dudes.
And
you know?
also,
Right.
and also the gun culture, the gun thing is intimidating.
Mhm.
I'm telling you what, I'm a big guy and whatever.
It's
when I first
based
started
on
taking NRA classes, I was intimidated by these gun people.
Huh.
And I just started riding Harleys, and I used to be intimidated by these Harley
Whatever.
people, or motorcycle people.
Yeah,
Sorry.
let's go with that.
Not to gang up on you,
But
Craig.
anyway, when I was when I was getting into the gun thing, I was shot, whatever, whatever, and I thought of myself as a good shot.
We went
whatever.
shooting many times.
But when I started taking NRA courses, I was intimidated by these gun people because it
Yeah.
is intimidating,
Sure.
The
Sure. And
military-
imagine a woman.
and a woman that doesn't know, or
Right.
even a guy that doesn't know.
Sure.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, guys too.
But it's anything new. When I took up golf, I was intimidated, man. I'm a big
Yeah.
guy. I'm a big gun guy. Big, But when I
Point being
started-
is, no matter what you get into, if
you're
you don't
scared.
know it,
You're
it could be intimidating.
and you have to make people feel at ease.
Sure.
Right.
Hey, you know what? Hey, well, I'm not a very good shot. I didn't have a. That's all right. We'll fix that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
Fix
That's
that.
the
You know
essence
what?
of a good
I'm not gonna
instructor,
yell at
bro.
you. And that's where I think I'm kind of proud of myself for
Yeah.
for that.
You told me a story one time when you were in your CCW training class to become the CCW trainer, where they had to stick your hands in ice and they were screaming at you and you had to load your
That was a
Load all of your-
how to shoot under distress.
under
Yeah,
distress, right?
yeah.
So he had to put his hands in ice.
And
They
I
were
busted
screaming
ice.
at him. They're right in his face, and he had to load his magazine.
That's
Put the-
awesome.
three
Put the
rounds.
mag in
That
the
is
gun.
awesome. That would
And-
intrigue me.
I was laughing. Me and Dave, my buddy Dave from Metro, they partners us up, and he's yelling at me, and I'm laughing. He's yelling at me, and I'm laughing so hard because me and him were such good friends.
Sure.
And it wasn't intimidating. It's not shooting under distress, except for the ice bath,
Yeah,
and it was
for sure.
cold up there.
I bet it was cold on top of that ice bath, loading your magazine,
That's
then putting the
awesome.
magazine in your gun,
screaming at you and stuff.
and then trying to
You
get
know,
those shots off.
And it's funny too because I try to train myself. Sometimes I pin my left arm. My right hand is my dominant arm. So I try. And every firearm I own, handgun wise, normally has straight sights on the rear,
Which is
something. You're such an idiot. Anyway, all the sights are nice and straight, nice rear sight posts that I can hook onto my belt, and I can rack my firearm without the use of my left hand. So I train that way too, just in case something happens.
Also,
whatever.
I teach people after they're more advanced to shoot with their offhand.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's big.
If your strong side gets injured, then you have to learn how to shoot with your
Absolutely.
weak side.
Yeah, and keep in mind, that the stippling on a firearm grip is there for a reason. It's there for wet
Right.
locations. It's there for blood. Believe it or not. I mean, you want to talk raw? Let's talk raw. Once you get blood on a firearm, it's very hard to grip. It'll start coagulating, it'll start drying, and things like that. And you'll have traction, but. Dude, you really have to train for different scenarios.
You have to.
Right,
absolutely.
Every scenario is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and touching on those scenarios, there's a matter of 3 to 5 rules, right off the bat.
Are you talking about safety rules?
Yeah, safety rules right off the bat. You take the whole scenario out of it.
You kind of
right?
start off with safety on your end of it, Dave?
I start my class off with a video of a crazy guy, and then I go, "What would you do?" And everybody looks around. Sometimes there's strangers that don't know each other or whatever, and it breaks the conversation. People start talking, interacting, and there's a reason for that. But safety, it comes later.
Well, coming back from that, you want to do a couple things. Like one, you want to always treat the gun like it's always loaded.
Okay, number one rule is keep your muzzle pointed in a safe direction.
Okay, number one is keep your muzzle pointed in a safe direction.
And 2 is be aware of your target and what's beyond. And 3 is keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire.
Okay, so if Craig is coming at me,
And
we're
I
sitting
will
across
be.
the table. I'm sure you will. We're sitting across the table. He's coming at me. I'm only thinking about the threat, but you have to be aware of what's past him, right? Why? Because if you miss,
Oh, yeah.
if you miss, there's something behind him.
You have to know your target.
You know your target, right?
And
Right.
what's beyond.
Right. So where we are on the other side of this wall, there could be people there, right? So
Yes.
you have to be aware of that,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's why it comes with your pulling your firearm out is the last line of defense.
Sure.
Right?
It's a tool of last resort. That's what I say. If you can run. If you can throw a chair at someone, if you can run around a pole, stuff happens so fast.
Right. Right. And always keep your finger off the trigger
Until you're ready to fire.
until you're
Till
ready,
you're ready
to
to
fire.
fire.
I think that's a big
I
thing.
get so mad when I see headlines. Guy accidentally just the other day. It's horrible. It's horrible. Guy accidentally shoots his daughter while cleaning his gun. No.
God.
No.
How many times do we hear
Just
that?
the other day. Just the other
Jeez.
day. Okay. No, he didn't. He pointed the gun at his daughter, God forbid, and he pulled the trigger and shot her.
Ugh. It's horrible.
Because, nobody shoots anybody while they're cleaning their gun.
Right.
Someone pulled the trigger. The gun can sit anywhere for eternity and never go off until
Never go
someone
off.
pulls the trigger.
Right. The gun has to be activated, if you will.
It's,
Right? Has to be
it's-
shot.
And why would you point it at your daughter?
Yeah. Why would you point it at anybody? And I think that's the point, right?
Yeah.
It's,
It goes back to treating the gun like it's always loaded.
yeah,
You
even,
got to
you have to make sure you split the two up.
double check.
You put the ammo, you unload your weapon when you're cleaning it, you put the ammo in the other room, and then you go ahead and go through it because, when I'm at home, I rack it, I dry fire, I go through the whole scenario.
Triple check it.
Yeah. I practice holstering. I practice reloading.
Dry fire. That's called dry fire practice, and that's what you do. But you have to make sure the ammunition's in a separate room. Right?
Absolutely.
Somewhere else,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Well, once again, we have Dave Roberg here. Straight shot firearms training. Just to get a little recap in case you just turned it on and joined us now.
Never know.
We've got good stuff going on. Dave is our very first special guest.
I'm honored.
Again, I'm super excited.
Yeah, I appreciate everything that's going on right now, man. This is good stuff.
So, not all guns have safeties, right?
Nope.
And you should never rely on that safety.
Your safety is your booger hook.
Your booger hook. I like
trigger
that.
finger. Keep your booger
I know my wife.
Keep your booger hook off the bang switch.
My wife, my wife has a Smith & Wesson 9mm. It has a safety on it.
Yes.
I personally do not care to carry a gun that has a safety, because to me, it's an extra step, right?
That is a carry condition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So most carry conditions, you can look it up. There's you're carrying condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, condition 4.
Well, can you go into 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, one is basically, let me see. I carry condition 2, which is 1 in the chamber, no safety, right? Full magazine.
Right.
Okay, condition 1. I think this was Jeff Cooper, I think, is who is the guy that kind of is the father of this, right?
Who's Jeff Cooper?
Well, he's basically the owner of current carry conditions now. Okay, he came up with the number 1 rule. He came up with 1, 2, 3, and 4. And at the time, it was all 1911s. So you see a lot of the 1911s, which are safety on.
Okay.
So that's the whole lock and load, right?
Right, because 1911s, in order to be ready, right,
Yes.
the hammer has to be cocked.
That's
ready to
correct. Yeah. So number 1 is, and you guys can blow me up in the comments if I'm wrong here. Number 1 is a bullet in the chamber, safety on, and full magazine.
Okay.
Okay. 2 is no safety on because it's a striker fire pistol, which is what I prefer to carry.
Okay.
So you have a bullet in the chamber and also a full magazine, and you're ready to go. Okay. No safety required, no nothing like that. A 3 is no bullet in the chamber but a full magazine, and 4 is no bullet in the chamber and a full magazine. You have to rack
So you have to rack it.
You have to rack
it
it
to get it going. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can go on YouTube and you can see that, there's a lot of guys that train that don't carry condition 3 because they don't want that bullet in the chamber. They want to be able to rack it. Either they carry it Mexican style or something like that.
And that's why I make fun of a lot of movies, because they threaten somebody with a gun, and then all of a sudden, they rack it.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, were you threatening me before?
Yeah, as
before that or what?
as secondary threat.
Secondary threat, right?
I teach people, if you're not comfortable, a lot of these Glocks and 6 hours and whatever, XDs, Springfield Armory XDs, they don't have a safety on them.
Which are all great guns.
They're great guns, of course. But I teach new first-time carriers. If you don't feel comfortable with one in the chamber, don't. A lot of the instructors you got to have one in the chamber. It's like putting your seatbelt on before an accident.
Sure.
But you got to learn to rack that slide fast. And but if you don't feel comfortable with it, don't, because it's your own personal.
Well, you don't want any self accidents either.
And your chances of having an accident might be more than if you need it.
Let's bring Francisco back into it, right? So he's got this baby Desert Eagle, right? He's got this
God.
9mm Desert. It's a single double action. Okay, it's kind of like a 1911, but it also fires in double action. So, kind of like not like a 1911, but he keeps the safety on. He has to rack it, unlock the safety, just like the shield, right? That your wife might have.
Right.
Okay. because she's not comfortable, just like to hit Dave's point, she's not comfortable, walking around with a loaded weapon ready to go.
Kids around.
you know what I tell
She's
people?
mostly with the kids, right?
You know what I tell people a lot of times? If for your first concealed carry gun, a simple shot, 5-shot revolver.
Yes.
Simple 5-shot revolver, a Smith & Wesson Airweight, great gun.
Yep.
So
simple,
I
stupid.
wanted to, not to cut you off, but I wanted to point on that. What are the better guns for women as their first carry gun? That let's face it, most women want to throw their gun or their firearm in their purse, right?
I strongly.
I disagree with it.
I'm with you. I totally agree with you, but yeah, I disagree with that carry method.
And I strongly suggest to them, no off. They call it off-body carry.
Okay.
Do not do that. You want it on your body.
Off body carry. I like that.
No purse.
Yep.
Don't
Good
carry-
stuff.
Don't carry it in your purse. Do not, because you know what? You see them. They fumble around. Where's my keys? Where's my? Where's
What
my
do you call
keys?
it?
Where's
What do you
this?
call it? The bottomless pit.
It's a bottomless pit. You're fumbling around. You don't have time for that shit.
Right.
No, you need it right here, accessible to you.
Not to mention the fact that the purse is, if you're in, let's say you're walking through the grocery store.
First thing bad guy does is he grabs
That's
your
right.
purse.
He just
Grabs
grabs
your
your purse
purse.
and runs.
Then now he's got
Gone.
your gun on your purse.
That's what I tell my wife.
Here's my thing. Carried on body, on your body. They have a lot more options than they used to.
They do.
Dean Adams.
Dean Adams. I was going to bring her up. Yep. Dean Adams. She's got. They got corsets. They have yoga pants.
And they have
And those shirts, too.
They have shirts too.
And also, you can wear a pair of skin tight blue jeans, which I'm not opposed to, in young ladies.
Not at all.
With a nice, with a nice tank top, tight tank top, which I'm not opposed to, or yoga pants with a flannel shirt over it.
to point that, women out now today, they think everything's tight, right?
Sure.
Yoga pants are tight. Their shirts are tight. It doesn't always have to be that way, right?
But they can have a nice light jacket or a
Sure.
flannel shirt over it, and nobody can see.
That's right.
Nobody
This
can
is
see.
this is good stuff, man.
There's a lot more options than there used to be for women.
I agree.
Because in the last 10 years, they've come a long way, and you don't have to wear the bang bra and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The bang bra, which is pretty cool.
It is cool. I don't know a lot of people that can rock
My wife
that.
tried it. It is not comfortable.
No,
Right,
it's
and that's
not.
a bang bra. For those of you that don't know, is basically
And we all know.
it sits in the bra, right? And you have to. It sits under the bra.
Yeah, it sits
if
under
you
the
will.
bra. It sits under the bra. It's
They
in the
have
over. It's in the overhang.
They have to lift their shirt in the overhang. They have to lift their shirt to pull it out.
Ridiculous.
I think the concept is good. I'll give them that, and it's definitely a different way to carry. You're not going to see it, right? Because the underwire of the bra will hide the firearm, the printing, if you will. It's definitely a good way to carry, but there are so many other options.
Sure.
I think like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yes. I'm with you, Dave.
Yeah.
You don't even have to
with-
finish
with-
your sentence.
with
I know.
with the yoga pants and whatever.
Yeah.
and a loose shirt over top.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
So you recommend for women
On body.
on body, right?
Definitely no off body carry.
Okay, and
ever.
then are we talking? Do you recommend more of a revolver for a woman?
If they're not experienced.
If they're not experienced, revolver.
If they're experienced and they know how to rack the slide, the safeties, magazines, all this, that, and the other.
You mentioned the airweight earlier. That's hammerless, I
Smith &
assume.
Wesson Airweight, hammerless. That's simple
Hammer.
stupid.
That's
My first concealed
hammerless.
carry. My first concealed carry gun. I carried that all the time for.
I remember that.
Years.
Yeah, even for you.
5-shot revolver.
Yeah.
Right. That's great. So how about for men?
Whatever they prefer. There's a lot, there's a lot of men that carry backpacks or whatever. No off-body carry.
Yep.
Fanny packs are, I can always tell.
Hey, they're coming back.
I can always, I swear to God, I can always tell someone, an old timer, when they have a fanny pack, I can tell, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, hey, what are you carrying? Because I know there's a gun in there.
Right.
That's a big,
Just-
no.
My wife and I were walking through.
PF9, baby.
Don't do that.
Yeah. We were walking to a restaurant, and we saw a guy get out of his car. He went to his back seat, and he pulled out a fanny pack, and he put it on. It's the first thing I said.
You know he's packing.
He's packing.
Of course
right
he is.
now. Yeah, absolutely.
He's
Which I don't
advertising.
disagree with.
He's advertising. It's better than nothing, but
Right.
don't,
Sure.
don't advertise.
Don't advertise.
Concealed means
Please don't.
concealed. It's very important.
Yes.
You want the, you know, if they see you open carrying or they think you're carrying, the first thing they're going to do is take you out because you're a threat.
That's right. You're a target.
You're a target. Exactly right.
Conceal means conceal.
No
Love
matter
it.
what. No matter where you're going, right?
I saw a
Right.
dude printing in 1911, small of his back, full size, full
Wear a
metal.
shirt.
Yeah. He just had a golf shirt on. Right.
But it's because my fat ass.
Dave just showed us where he's carrying.
Yeah. Dude, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, maybe
Yeah.
a little 4:30. That's where the business is.
Well, if you're right-handed, that's where it's going to be,
Yeah.
right? And it all goes back to everything we just talked about,
Yep.
right? Knowing your surroundings, keeping your back away from the door, looking at the door, and
Sure.
being ready, right?
Yeah, anticipating a problem. You know.
Just
situational
just
awareness.
having a gun alone. I mean, I'm the first to say it. I mean, it doesn't matter what you have. As long as you're carrying, dude, you're willing to protect your family. You're willing to step up and be that guy. You know, that's where it's at. It doesn't
Well,
matter
yeah.
what it is. And I'm only saying that because I have a mouse gun on me right now.
What?
Mouse guns are okay.
Yeah. 380.
That's okay.
Yeah.
No, they're good.
Hey.
It's
When he
fun.
says mouse, he means smaller.
Yeah.
That's okay. But
6+1, condition 2, plus P ammunition.
here's my thing. Here's my
Write
thing.
that down, folks.
Here's my
Write
thing.
that down.
I tell people in class, if you buy junk, you're gonna get junk results.
You're absolutely right. Good hit. That's a good touch too.
You've got to buy a good reputable. You know, the Smith and Wesson MP Shield. It's a great gun.
So don't buy High Point.
No.
Don't buy High Point.
Don't even buy a Taurus.
Taurus is all right.
There's nothing wrong with Taurus.
No.
Shut the fuck up.
Ah, come on, dude.
I had a guy the other day on qualifying, and I see a lot of them. Taurus, he had a nice Taurus. It was very
Listen,
nice and
A
lightweight.
CCW on a budget can be anything you want.
Absolutely.
No, Smith & Wesson MP Shield.
Yep.
Or the Taurus is okay, but don't get a High Point or junk. Jimenez
Well,
or whatever.
which is
Junk.
also it's a great segue to what we were talking about before. Women on that end, if you're going to do a wheel gun, right?
Yeah.
Dude, there is your probability of having a malfunction on a wheel gun is like this.
Right.
And I'm holding up a little pinch.
Small.
It's
Small.
very, very small. Yeah, you get a striker fire gun, or you get some, subsequent ammo.
Right.
It's just like Dave said, you're going to spend a little bit more money to make sure that you
Right.
are defending yourself and your family properly.
Right. So we talked about 22s. We talked about all kinds of things. So Dave, what do you recommend a certain round for people, or do you recommend the fact that anything that makes you comfortable?
Certain round? No, 9mm is fine.
Mm-hmm.
380 is fine.
9mm for the cheap sake, you know what I mean? It's a lot easier to get 9mm, and you can get plus P ammo if your gun is willing to accept it. A lot of the shields won't take plus P. It's just their barrels, are just kind of
The
not
380
that
is a
well.
good round. It's
My
got good
my
pop.
380 is great, dude. It
And
really
depending
is.
on your barrel size, will give you a punch, right?
I don't know if it's so much as the barrel size, but
Mhm.
I tell you what, I bought my first 380 about 2 years ago, and just bought it off a guy and
Mhm.
tried it out. I'm very impressed.
You like it?
Yep, it's
Nice.
very close to a 9mm.
So, for everybody that's
concealability,
listening,
Yep.
yeah. So everybody that's listening, it doesn't matter.
That goes to the same point I was saying before. Just carry. Do what you're
Well,
comfortable with.
and also, make sure the hollow points, because you always want to carry hollow points in your concealed carry gun.
Yep.
Because it's more effective in stopping
So-
power, and it won't go through a sheetrock and kill
So,
injure someone else.
Explain what a hollow point is compared to just a
Parabellum.
normal reload
A
round.
hollow point expands on impact. It's more effective in stopping power, and it won't go through a wall and injure someone else.
It's designed, it's designed to mushroom, break up. You won't have the penetration that you will with a regular round tip. The round tip just kind of goes right through you, you know.
Yeah.
Nice sound right there, bro. That was absolute perfect timing. No, you're good. So when you have a hollow point and you
it's designed to neutralize the threat, dude.
It widens.
You want to keep the threat from coming at you.
It expands on impact and it stops the threat a lot.
Right.
Perfect.
Fast.
Okay. Very good.
Enters the body, you know,
There's
the size of a
nothing
dime.
wrong. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with a 380 auto.
Okay.
Years ago, I was skeptical, but after I owned my own and I've actually seen how they fire.
I think that's where a lot of people are at. You know, they're like, "Oh God, I need to have a 45."
It's a 9mm short. You don't need a 45.
Yep.
Them days
Right.
are over.
Yep,
over.
you're exactly right.
Them days are over. The 45s, the 40s are even phasing out.
Right.
40's a good round.
There's a joke coming, I'm sure.
No, no, but no,
It's pretty. Well,
I love the 40 round.
I do too.
It's,
I
not,
a lot of
it's,
them.
it's a little bigger than the 9,
Yep.
smaller than the 45,
Yep.
right? And it's good. It's a great round.
that's what they say, dude. 40 round has got the it's got the punch of a 45 and it's got the velocity of a 9mm.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a good round. So getting back to your classes, Dave, what can somebody expect if they give you a call and we have it?
Well, we should probably go. So I know you're on Facebook, Instagram. Are you on Instagram?
Not really.
I know it was obviously word of mouth when I pushed Francisco your way. So I know you also advertise on your truck and things like that. Your phone number's out there, and we can hit on that, or we can even post it. Okay, just to make sure that you know your number's out there, because the people that are listening, you know, that believe me that we're talking about this. It's going to hit home with them, and they're going to be calling you. So
Right.
and that's what we're talking about. So
Well, where can they reach you? We can
Uh,
post it, but you can tell us right now.
702-612-7748 on my phone number.
Okay, and that's Straight Shot Firearms Training.
Yes, sir.
David Roberg, Straight Shot Firearms Training.
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
That's great. That's great, man. I really I appreciate you coming out.
Hey, no
Appreciate
problem.
you talking to us. We're going to, as our first guest, we're going to advertise the crap out of you. Hopefully you get a couple calls from this.
Right.
You know, I can say I learned something right here. You know,
Absolutely. This is good stuff, man. You're a great guy. You're easy to talk to. It sounds like, you know, your class is something that I would push my wife towards and things like that, because you know, level head, real life scenarios.
You know,
and people just want to hear stuff like that.
You know
Something
what?
that they can relate to. You know.
You know what I tell people? If get starting off in class, there's no such thing as a stupid question.
right? Yeah, that's a good point.
Interrupt me right then and there. I won't get mad at you. I won't yell at you. Feel free to interrupt me right then, because I don't want you to forget your question. But there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Yeah, you want to make sure they take that content. You know.
Because you know what? First of all, I don't want people to be intimidated. I don't want to ask a question. Ask me whatever you want, and we'll work through it.
Yeah. And on top of
And,
that, Dave, you also teach safety classes.
Safety
There's not
class,
just
safety,
a
safety,
CCW
safety.
class, right?
Yeah.
Take the CCW out of it, Craig. Take it all completely out of it. If there's a woman that comes in that's still afraid of the gun, right? Afraid of the bang.
Doesn't matter if
Afraid
it's a
of
woman or
holding.
whatever. If it's a kid.
No, sure, of course.
If you wanted your 9-year-old daughter to come to me, I'll teach her.
right, and it's all about
I
safety.
can't give her a CCW yet, but
No, but it's all about safety, right?
It's all about safety, and I'll train from people from 8 years old to 80
Right.
or 100. Doesn't
And I
matter.
think that's where all three of us are at. It's about the safety of it, right?
No, I
It's about
love.
teaching that safety.
You know, the most. I do good as far as financial wise and whatever, and I always feel good after a CCW class. But the most satisfying part of my whole deal is when I see people holding up their target, and
Yeah.
they have all their bullseyes right there,
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's exciting.
and with a big smile on their face.
Absolutely.
And when I tell them, hey, I bet you didn't know that you were going to be a better shot than you were when you woke up this morning.
Sure. Right.
and the big smile on their face.
And it's about
Yeah.
the techniques that you give them,
Yep.
right?
And,
It's about
It's not
grip.
only that, but a very important thing that we haven't mentioned yet is a follow up too. They can easily call you. You can go shooting again after the class and
After
just
the
say,
class.
"Hey, look, let's fine tune your deal."
I charge like $50 for the hour, and within the hour, or if it takes 2 hours,
Sure.
I'm not going to charge you more. But we're not going to leave until you're on a positive note and you're hitting bullseyes.
That's a good point.
They feel
That's
confident.
a good point.
Right, absolutely.
And
I'm not
that's
gonna
another
time you.
and that's another safety too, because they can buy a gun and be like, yeah, I think it's a good one and everything, but if they're not comfortable shooting, that's one of the safety rules. You have to know what weapon you're shooting
and
with.
Also,
Right.
I have own a variety of handguns. I'll let you try out what I have.
Sure.
If you like what I have, you go buy your own.
right.
There you go.
And I'll train you how to shoot what I have.
See,
And then you go buy your own, and then I'll give you another lesson after you get your own, because there's nothing like learn how to shoot on your own with your own firearm.
Absolutely.
And that's another good point. They don't even have to own weapons. They
Nope.
can just take your class and you
You
bring
do not
yours.
have to own
I've got
a
a
firearm.
variety. And,
your ammo, your weapons, and you'll have a variety that they
and
can
I'll
choose.
I'll teach you how to shoot.
Because it's all about baby steps,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You
It's-
want to come in, you want to protect yourself, right? I have the guns. Dave has the
Yes.
guns, right? We're going to teach you on a 22. I'm going to teach you on a 38. I'm going to
Graduate
teach you on a
you up.
40. I'm going to
Yep.
teach you on a 45. I'm going to teach you where you want to go, is
Yep.
what Dave is trying to
I'm
say.
gonna graduate you up,
Right.
and then by the end of the day, we're gonna teach you how to hit bullseyes. Now,
Right.
if you take my CCW class, it's hard to cram everything in an 8-hour class, but we're gonna do a follow-up lessons, and you'll be extremely happy.
Over and over until you feel comfortable.
Yep. And
Right, and I
a
think
couple
that's the
hours, together, and done deal.
Yep. All
Right,
of a
so-
sudden, you graduate as a sheepdog, and you're ready to continue to go on
There
living.
you go.
Yeah? Yeah.
So to recap, straight shot firearms training is not just CCW, right?
No.
This
Right.
is a safety class. We can graduate you, who's never shot a gun before, from safety class to where you're comfortable, and we can push you to a
your
CCW
kids
to where you
and
can
more,
protect
yeah.
yourself everywhere.
Yep.
Everywhere you go.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Bring your kids.
Yep.
We'll get it going.
Absolutely.
Teach
So
them
Dave, one more time, your phone number. They can reach you at?
702-612-7748. And also, I'm on Facebook, Straight Shot Firearms Training
Perfect.
in Las Vegas.
Awesome.
It's best to shoot me a text on my phone number, and
Okay.
I'll get you taken care of.
Excellent. Right. And you can all check us out at Dads with Ammo at Instagram, Facebook. We're on Twitter. And,
Yep.
there you go.
And we just got graduated to iHeartRadio.
We did.
Oh, wow.
iHeartRadio just approved us, so we are on many, many platforms.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
That's great.
yeah, guys. So if you're listening, definitely call Dave to protect yourself for safety, for CCW, for anything that
Or
that
just
you need.
to go shooting.
Yeah,
or
just to go
security. I do home security too. I walk
okay.
around, I can walk around your home and point out different things to help you.
Oh, that's a good point.
Improve your home security too.
That's a good point. There could be some blind areas that people don't understand.
Yeah.
The ring,
Installing cameras in right areas
ring,
and things
ring
like that.
doorbell system. I'm a believer. If someone's knocking on your door, you got that ring doorbell. You could be in Europe, and you can let them think you're at home, and you just can't come to the door right now, and that's a good deterrent.
Sure.
Well,
Sure.
and then you could actually say, "Hey, I'm upstairs. What,
Yeah.
what can I help you with?"
Yeah.
Right. You know, you
And
could be in Europe, but
and
you could be up. Say
in
you're
a different
upstairs.
state, different different county, whatever,
Right.
and that's a good self-deter. I teach deterrent stuff like that.
Yeah, you've told me some stories about some people that you've gone back and forth to where they feel comfortable, and that's what I think that's great about your business and about what you're doing for people, whether it's man or woman. You are actually spending the time to go to their house to make sure they're comfortable, no matter how many times it takes.
Security in your home is about layers. It's all about layers of security. There's nothing 100%. Block walls. They keep innocent people out. Windows and doors and whatever.
Sure.
They keep innocent people out. But it's all about layers of security and knowing what to do in a situation. If a situation arises, you don't want to hit your feet to hit the floor and go, "What am I going to do? What am I
Right.
going to do?"
Right.
You got to have a plan,
Good point.
and you get your plan, practice your plan, and then it improves your safety.
Always stay ready.
Always stay.
That's the whole point of it, right?
That's great.
Have a safe room for your kids. Have a firearm or whatever.
That's a good point.
Have a safe room for your kids. An old cell phone on the charger. That all the old cell phones you can dial 911.
Even if you have no service.
That's
Most
right.
Don't know that.
Emergency call.
And get in your safe room, huddle down in a closet with your firearm or your baseball bat or whatever, and wait for protect yourself.
Protect yourself.
Because if someone boots in your door, you don't have time to go through all that.
That's
you
right.
You gotta develop a plan. You gotta get a plan.
This is good. Well, Dave, I appreciate you coming. Appreciate you sitting here and talking to us.
Obviously, our best podcast yet.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely.
It's only going to get better.
Warms my heart, man, that you came here and talked to us. This is great.
It's only going to get better.
So, everybody check Dave out. Straight Shot Firearms Training for any of your training, your safety, CCW, anything you need.
Yep.
Right? Good deal.